Hey there, chargers, Trace here, and batteries suck. I've been saying it for years. Here's a montage of me saying it. To start with, batteries suck. They're terrible.
Batteries are the worst.
If there's a bottleneck with current technology, it's definitely batteries.
Batteries suck. You know it, I know it, we all know it. And it's one thing everyone on Earth can come together and sing about.
I hate batteries.
Who doesn't hate batteries?
This might come as a shock to you, but actually they don't completely suck. I know. They've gotten a lot better over the years, but like they still explode and stuff. They still get worse every time they use them. They can only last for so long. When are we gonna have, you know, like the best battery, the perfect battery? What is the battery of the future, and where are all of these different technologies right now? When are we gonna be free from the tyranny of the wall plug? Are we just a quick charge away? Because I have questions. Handheld phones and tablets are way cooler than you think. They might look like solid pieces of metal, glass, or plastic, but your phone is a dynamic ecosystem of metals and ions and salts, little teeny bits of matter that are actually moving inside of your device right now on a molecular level. It's actually really amazing. Even though technology seems fairly stagnant right now, we are making leaps. It's just not as easy as it used to be. We have always-on internet. We have computers in our pockets or on our wrists. We have a battery that discharges and charges and recharges again and again. And that's so 20th century, right? The US Department of Energy has a goal for the 21st century's advanced battery technology of 400 watt-hours per kilogram. In the last decade, we got to 220 watt-hours per kilogram, but the future tech that they think will work could get us to 3,000 watt-hours per kilogram. 3,000! We could have phones that last for days. We could have technology that charges instantaneously. Your electric car could drive a significant distance across North America in a single charge. We could have so many different things, but we don't yet. So where are they? How do we get there? Mainly with lots of science, which is just my favorite. So real quick, before we get into it, thank you for tuning in, fellow enthusiastic and curious humans. I am Trace, you probably already know this, and I'm really happy that you're here. It gives me a jolt, battery pun, and I love seeing y'all in the comments and on my Insta. Thank you for your support over this last year since I quit my job. It has been amazing to help grow this channel with you. If you want to continue doing that, please share the video with your network. Even if you got 10 followers on Twitter, please tweet it. You got 50 friends on Facebook, share it. You want to put it on TikTok, go for it. Please. Really helps grow the channel. So thanks. So, batteries of the future, let's kick into it. Right now, we're using lithium ion, which really means we're using lithium cobalt. The future might be lithium sulfur or lithium air, which actually means lithium oxygen, or even calcium batteries. No lithium at all. So let's take each one of these technologies and break them down. So first, lithium sulfur, the new hotness. It was developed in 2010 at Stanford, and it uses sandwiches of lithium sulfide nanocomposite with silicon nanowires. It could power your phone for like 5 days or a car for 600 plus miles with like 1,000 charge cycles. Sounds amazing, right? Silicon is like a super serum for lithium batteries. Anytime you see silicon in a battery, you know that they're trying to pack a punch. Meanwhile, the atomic structure of sulfur increases the battery capacity even more. So you'd think that silicon plus lithium plus sulfur would mean the perfect battery, but not so much. The problem is, even after 10 years of research, the sulfur causes little brittle buildup of tendrils that can destroy the battery overall. More research is definitely needed, and maybe someday friends will get there, but right now, not so much. Lithium air, next. That was the new hotness for a minute too. It was discovered in '95, allegedly when a researcher had a leak in their battery experiment that caused it to actually perform better. And it turns out the oxygen in the air was combining with the lithium to make even more energy work in the battery. And it does work for a bit, but the oxygen actually binds with elements of the battery, building up on the surface of the lithium, and then the battery degrades really fast. There are fixes like changing up the electrolyte inside the battery, but they're not actually ready yet. More research is needed, just like with a lot of battery technology. And it seems like the solution is to use a different solution for the electrolyte, and maybe just, move on from lithium altogether. If you can get rid of lithium, that's better sometimes. But before we get there, let me take you on a detour about this whole thing, and I'll come back to calcium batteries in a minute, because I feel like you're gonna be, you wanna stick around for this. Batteries are not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect battery. Different batteries are good for different things. You're surrounded by batteries every day. I'm literally wearing one on my body. They're in every portable device. We use lithium because of its energy capacity. Lithium's atoms have an unstable outer electron orbital. This means that they can easily give up or pick up electrons and stay stable. table. Lithium sounds complicated, but it's actually only the third simplest element on the whole periodic table. Shocking, right? Battery pun. 3 protons and 3 electrons, lithium. This means that it's light, and scientists first realized that it might be powerful literally in the early 20th century. It took over half a century though to make it work in a battery. All batteries are constructed with the same 3 components, a cathode, an anode, and an electrolyte that they can move things through. In a voltaic cell, the ions flow from the negative anode to the positive cathode through the electrolyte. I always get them confused, so I came up with a mnemonic: anode, negative. But the first batteries just used up the chemical reactions and then they were dead. Rechargeable batteries have reversible chemical reactions inside of them. Basically, you plug it into the wall and the electricity from your local power plant pushes the reaction in reverse. And that is how they recharge. Think of rechargeable batteries like apartment buildings. The lithium ions which power your devices are crammed into a little apartment, and then when we turn on the power, the lithium ions all leave their apartment and go to work. Leaving their apartments, heading down the stairs, they fly out the doors, they power the devices on their journey to their work building. A watt is a unit of power, and power is work, so these things are literally doing work, not unlike us in the big macro world. It's a weird commute, but our little electrons are moving through the devices and they actually power the device, and it's all a bit above my head, but the electrons don't actually flow, but they're more like one of these, I don't know what they're called, little executive office toys, a name that I learned from Animal Crossing. They're not destroyed, they're not spent, they're just moving around in there physically. An electron comes in on one end, which pushes the electron off into the next one, to the next copper atom, to the next copper atom, and then one pops out the other side into the waiting arms of a new lithium atom. It's a different electron at the end than the start, but that movement is what causes power. And lithium can do this, again, because it has that outer orbital. This was all worked out by a research team at Oxford in the 1980s run by John Goodenough. You'd think with a name like that, he would do just the bare minimum, right? Because good enough? Yeah, that was bad. Instead of doing just the bare minimum though, he had his postdoctoral researchers go through the periodic table, testing all the different elements to see if they'd work for batteries. Basically, they were trying to build an apartment complex for these ions with different things. Because if too many lithium ions leave a lithium ion battery and they run out of the building too fast and commute all at the same time, the whole thing collapses. Literally, the atomic structure of the battery breaks down and it no longer works. So eventually they discovered a cathode of lithium cobalt was the way to go. Sony implemented the technology and we were off to the races. Throughout the 90s, lithium-ion batteries improved steadily at about a 7% rate every single year, but by 2003, when Tesla was founded on the promise of an electric sports car, they were getting pretty good. Then a few years later, old Stevie Jobs announced the iPhone, an internet-connected computer always on in your pocket.
This is one device, and we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
Which is nuts when you think about it at the time. Now it's no big deal, but at the time it was huge. But part of all of these things is Big Lith, or the global lithium-ion battery industry. It's huge. It's slated to net almost $100 billion annually by 2030. Lithium batteries are such a big part of the technology of the day, and they suck up huge amounts of lithium from all over the planet, as well as cobalt, neither of which are easy to mine, nor is mining them good for the environment, which makes calcium even better. And see what I did? I'm hooking you back in. We're gonna get there, just trust me. See, lithium-ion batteries aren't the best in energy density. They don't have the best charge and discharge rates, and of course, lithium electrolyte salts are very reactive. If punctured, the whole thing catches fire. I'm looking at you, Samsung. We all remember when the Android fanboys fell silent for a few months after Samsung's flagship devices started to explode. Remember that? Yeah, not great. Researchers have discovered that lithium can hold a lot of energy, so much that Christina Lampe-Onnerud pointed out in 1999 that a lithium-ion laptop battery holds nearly the energy density of a hand grenade. So there has got to be something better out there, something that doesn't have a tendency to blow up, which is why after getting lithium to work, Goodenough and his et al. Didn't stop looking through the periodic table. They weren't the only ones doing that either. So now we know that lithium plus silicon is like adding a bit of super serum. It ups the overall charge density, but it creates little tentacles in the battery that break and cause it to fail. We talked about this earlier. Funnily enough though, good old tin will enhance the performance just like silicon, but unfortunately it doesn't work for building the apartments in our analogy from earlier. Lithium iron phosphate is incredible actually. It's great for electric cars and bicycle batteries because it discharges really fast and it recharges a lot of times, which brings me back to why there is no one perfect battery. Lithium titanate oxide sounds super cool. It's got titanium in it and works really well for fast recharges. The batteries last for decades, but it's got a lower voltage than current lithium ion batteries. Like it won't even run at 2.4 volts. So none of these are gonna work, but calcium batteries batteries, according to this new study, they might be a new path forward. So after that way longer than expected detour, calcium batteries have no cobalt or lithium in them at all. Calcium is the third most abundant metal on Earth, and it exists in every country, so no exploitation, no uber-damaging polluting practices required, and it's not toxic, explosive, or super rare, thus the word abundant. Calcium is already used in lead-acid batteries for car starters, but if we can make full batteries out of them, then we could see, according to this new research, high energy density and low manufacturing costs. This new paper says that they have found an electrolyte calcium salt that can move the ions from the anode to the cathode easily and quickly. Yeah, in engineer speak, they said they've made a working battery. But with calcium's abundance and affordability, this could change batteries forever, just not for a while. This is all still in the lab. Obviously, more research is needed for this to come to market. But they're not the only eggs for your basket for your eggs. IBM's BMIC battery, which is still a secret, contains elements extracted from seawater. Obviously, that's eco-friendly and better than lithium ion. According to IBM, they should have a working prototype in 2020. Look, Goodenough had his researchers try combo after combo, and how many combinations could there be? Literally millions. Especially when you think of all the electrolyte, anode, and cathode combos that could exist with all the different salts and metals. There are millions, billions of permutations. I just know, though, that there is a battery out there that will help power our small devices forever. We just don't quite know what it is yet. In the end, which battery will power your phones in the future? To be honest, it might be lithium ion with cobalt graphite, at least for a while. Which is why it's important to remember to recycle your devices so that metals can be recovered rather than mined. See, most cobalt comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo, not the most stable place in the world. It's considered pretty exploitative, in fact, the way we get this metal. And even if we can get calcium batteries working, or graphene capacitors that are biodegradable and amazing, I love graphene, it's incredible stuff. It's just nano sheets of carbon that can hold on to electrons. But it might take a decade to scale the technology to be used in one device, let alone to take over the market from big lithium. For now, lower power requirements in processors and devices, more efficient technologies, and denser lithium-ion batteries appear to be the way to go, and will be probably for the foreseeable future. Meanwhile, more research is needed on these other battery types that I've laid out in this video. If you're interested in making better batteries, get out there. Go to school in materials engineering. You could work with a member of Goodenough's team. They're still out there testing and discovering new things, and you could be too. Real quick before you go, y'all, my friend Mary Beth has this slogan: if it's faux free, it's faux me. If you do want to support Una Dose of Trace, and you want to get something for free also, you can do that with Skillshare. They help support the channel, and you can too. I am always online searching for how-tos and trying to discover new ways to do things for video editing or DIY stuff around the house or whatever. But whereas before I would just go and randomly search, now I just type in Skillshare. Skillshare is an online community of creative learners, and they teach each other new skills like graphic design, web development, habit formation, marketing or business, video or music production, even just tips on how to craft or like pick out better art for your house. It's really awesome. You can try Skillshare Premium for 2 months for free with my link here, and you'll support the show all for free. If it's faux free, it's faux me. I'm actually moving soon, and once I get to my new place, I'm gonna want it to look nice. So I devoured Emily Henderson's class, Style Your Space, Bringing Creativity to Interior Design. It's super neat to actually start to understand where to put stuff in your house, whether it's on a wall or on a table, to actually help make the room look better and not just cluttered. It's a thing that I wanna do, and I really love it. So again, join Skillshare with my link, and you will get 2 months of premium membership for free. You can find the link in the description. After that, it is only $10 a month to keep it rolling. Skillshare loves creative and curious people who are lifelong learners, and I have to say, that's you. So, thanks. Thanks so much for watching Una Dose of Trace. I hope you had a great new year. I hope you learned something new today. I know I did while writing this. Talk to you down in the comments. I'm Trace, and I will see you in the future.